some kind of game being played. I mean, it's ridiculous. Now, here, I wanted to start this out too, Lee. This is interesting. I was talking to my mom today, and my mom has been, she comes on the lives and sits in for a little bit and chats with the ladies, and it's nice that she wants to see me. But she watched the sentencing, so she knew very little about the case,
Oh yeah.
very little. And she said to me, the first thing she said was, "It all looked fake to me."
Oh wow. Wow.
That was her first reaction.
And she
Was it
didn't know that.
all looked like a play? And
Wow.
I said, I've been saying that since the damn beginning. This whole thing is like a play. It's not real. Like none of it's real. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And they're just enjoying us running in circles, I think. And there's some
Yeah.
kind of insidious crap going on here, but I don't know. I
I
mean,
wanted I wanted to address something in the comments I saw. Somebody was talking about Twizzle Stick and asking if Twizzle Stick was there. Yes, Twizzle Stick was there. I met Twizzle Stick in line. No, Twizzle Stick was there.
yeah.
Hope that's okay. I didn't see a reason not to answer that question, but hey, good to see
And
you.
there you go. My mom said I was exactly right. So
Wow,
can't go wrong with
that's
mom.
crazy without having a background in it of going, man, that something looks off with this. So
So yeah. So let's see. We got any other
wow, look at what Twizzle Stick just said.
this one
Yeah,
here?
administrative hearing. Yeah, go ahead.
My defense attorney friend in California has a coworker who thought he was guilty the whole time until the plea hearing, and that's when he watched and said he's innocent. And that's all he watched, and he said he was innocent. Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's messed up, man. I don't know what to say. I mean, it almost looked like Santa yesterday when he was doing that ridiculous press conference
Uh-huh.
where he was almost gloating in the fact that they really didn't have any evidence, and it was like it was a game of you know poker where you're trying to outsmart your opponent kind of crap.
I,
It's
I
messed up.
I was disgusted when I watched. I was disgusted when I was at the press conference and five at least officials got up there and like they were gonna now that it's over, we're gonna tell you what you don't know, and I was like, you haven't said a single thing that we haven't known for 2.5 years. Like, is anybody ever gonna say something that we haven't already known for and then worse. Not only did they not tell us anything that they didn't know for 2.5 years, but they confirmed shit that you wouldn't expect them to confirm. Like, no, we really, really wanted to find a connection between him and the girls, and we can't. And we really, really wanted to prove that he had gone to the Mad Greek restaurant, but we can't. And we really, really wanted to. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, yeah,
Right.
I thought it was a joke. I thought,
I know. I know. You were expecting him to go, here's the 13 times he
right,
was at the
right.
Mad Greek in 2 weeks.
Yeah, what we couldn't
Here's,
tell you was,
like
what we couldn't tell
legit.
you
Like
now was,
that would have been like, okay, Koberger, like
right.
I think you're done, brother. You're on your own now, but I'm still willing to hold out, just hope that this thing that we all think is crazy, and of course we catch a lot of flack for it
Yeah,
with the guilters that come on here or on their own channels or whatever and mock it and talk about how we can't give it up and this kind of thing. But when stuff is thrown in your face that's obviously wrong or lies, what else are you supposed to do but inquire? I
right.
mean,
And Hitler made his attempt to try to, shame anybody who asks questions from here on out, saying that you're just doing it for clicks and whatever, and it's now we've told you what happened, which is nothing more than you had known for 2 years, and now shut up and quit talking about it. So,
right.
and in a way, how is it not over? The family's accepted, he's accepted it, and,
Yeah. It's
and that's
too
it.
neat. It's too
Yeah,
neat. It shouldn't be that easy for
right.
everybody to just accept it. It's like the end of a sitcom.
Yeah.
when 30 minutes is up, the lights go down, and that's the end of the play. Thank you for coming. That's
Yeah.
pretty much what's going down. Barking at the Moon says they admitted in the plea and after sentencing that they could not place BK at the crime scene. That's the thing.
I know.
You couldn't put him there. Like,
I couldn't believe Bill Thompson had the nerve to be like, we can't put
yeah, I
from
mean,
the
what a
house.
bluff. I mean, if he truly bluffed and made Ann Taylor think that there was more there, I don't know what kind of shenanigans are going on. I mean, what do you think, dude? I mean, how did they come up with this asinine plea deal, you know?
I mean, the thing that people keep saying, and I don't believe it necessarily yet, but in a way I kind of hope they're right, was that there was a long game being played, and this plea deal is not the end of the story. That there's an appeal coming that we don't know about, and this was all part of the just buying some time. So we'll see. My gut tells me it's over as far as well, this is it. We're not going to get anything else. And if the sleuths in this case want to continue to uncover what they didn't tell us, it'll still at the end of the day be us saying, see, here's the smoking gun that it wasn't. And they'll be like, too bad. They already accepted it. It's a done deal. We're not going to redo the trial. It's over. There is no appeals. So I don't know. But
Yeah, I don't know either. It ended too
oh,
abruptly. It would be like a movie that is in the rough draft, and you just finish it, and it's like, no, it could have been a lot better. I don't know.
I apparently had my microphone in my drawer. I bet I'm a lot louder than I was a minute ago.
Oh yeah, it sounded a lot better. I didn't know what was going on with that.
I was rushing. I was rushing, and my microphone
Oh,
was
it
away,
happened.
and I'm still trying to pick food out of my teeth, and I'm
Oh
a mess. I'm
god.
in my workout clothes. I haven't even changed for the so whatever it is. What
Oh
it is.
boy, get those leg. Was it leg day today?
Well, yeah, every day is leg day because I go hiking the mountains.
So why don't we talk about your little trip to Boise? You were there, man. You were
Yeah,
in.
and
I saw your shirt because you
yeah,
said in that live, "I'm going to have
right,
this shirt on,"
yeah,
and I was looking, and in the very back. So thanks to my cataract surgery,
yeah,
I thought I saw you the left side of your shirt, and
yeah,
I was
and
like, "Man, I think that's him." You know.
yeah, and Twizzlestick asked the question whether I saw as well Brian smiling when he came into the courtroom, and I said this earlier on my live today. I said the one thing that people are not going to like hearing is when I saw Koberger walk in, he looked like he was a little giddy, like he was excited being there. He looked in a good mood. He looked like he was going to enjoy this. There was
Yeah.
two moments. There was two moments that kind of creeped me out a little bit when Koberger got a little. I thought he was trying to hold back a grin, like there was a micro expression in a little bit of the corners of the mouth, like he was wanting to smile, and he tried to and I was like, fuck, like out of all this time, those are the two things I didn't expect to see. But again, having said all that, this case is still a shit show, and there's a lot of unanswered questions. So
Yeah, that's the truth, man. But yeah, I wish that. Definitely very happy that you were able to go, but at the same time envious in a bit, just because I would love to be able to do stuff like that. Hopefully, here when I'm on two legs again, I can do things like that a little
yeah.
easier. A wheelchair would be tough by myself, so I'd have to have somebody with me.
Well,
So
see, the great thing is you'll probably get it. I can wheel you in, and
I
we'll get
wondered if
priority.
we would get
We'll
like
get priority.
VIP, like
Hell
I come
yeah,
wheeling
front row seats.
a disabled vet in a wheelchair.
We're
I mean, I
down,
should I should be sitting like on the lap of the defendant. I mean, like
right?
I should be like right there.
We'll take the car with the handicap sticker in the window. We'll get priority parking, and we'll
Right.
get you in front row.
Oh
We'll have
yeah.
the best seat in the house.
That's right. That's right. That's right. But so you had decent seat then? You were able to see everything okay?
I mean, I was 3 or 4 rows back, and the unfortunate part about where I was sitting was I had a fantastic view of Chief Fry the entire time.
Yeah.
But
What was
but
up with that? You mentioned
fuck,
that.
I don't know. That has to be in my imagination. But anyways, but yeah, Koberger was hard to see because there was two ladies in the diagonal between me and him, and they just always seemed, one woman's head was planted directly so that I had to, lean around to see past her if I wanted to look at Koberger. And if the other brunette happened to be in the wrong position, it was impossible. So I was doing this ducking and weaving half the time to get a read off of Koberger's face. Like I said, there was a moment when I felt like Koberger scanned the room and kind of locked eyes with me for a moment. And I was like, holy shit, he just he stopped for a moment looking at me. And I was like, oh, interesting. But
Yeah.
but other than that, it was kind of hard. I would hear something and I'm like, I want to see what his reaction was to that. And it was kind of hard sometimes to do that, unfortunately, from where I was at.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I should have watched from the phone to see facial reactions. Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting. I watched the feed on a couple different channels. Most of it was with AR, but they were, uh, when I started watching it, I was in the middle of something, so it had already started. So when I got it, Dylan had just got up to the podium, so that's when I started watching it. So
Yeah.
was she the first one then, or was there somebody before
Yeah,
her?
I think she was the first one. I think she
Okay.
might have been the first. Yeah.
But I mean, I immediately thought like, wow. I mean, I get the incredible sadness and emotion. I'm just wondering why there was so much sadness and emotion 2.5 years later, and there wasn't all this sadness and emotion the morning after your friends were slaughtered. I mean, what
Right.
you just shrugged that off as you're checking Indeed to see if you got that job you were looking for while you got a second. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously,
Yeah.
no disregard for human life. How
Right.
insulting is that, dude?
Right.
How
Right.
insulting is that? Now, I interviewed, I've told you this before, the Vampire of Paris,
Yeah.
Nico Clos. And I interviewed him after he was released from prison. He's in France, or he might have been in England when I interviewed him. But nonetheless, he's an interesting character, and I had to talk to him about a thing where he shot somebody and then got a cookie out of the guy's kitchen and just sat there and ate the cookie and watched this guy die on the floor.
Right.
And he didn't die, so he got up and got another cookie.
And
Yeah.
you're like, what's that? What's that like?
And he told me, he said before we interviewed him, he said, no, there's no, anything goes. Ask me
Yeah.
whatever you want.
Yeah.
And it was wicked. I mean, I don't want to gross people out that aren't here for that kind of thing, but he used to work in a morgue and he would take things home and
Oh yeah.
drinking things. And yeah, the most awful thing you could possibly imagine. But yeah, so I guess what I'm saying is, there's some truly, demented people out there that just are, and this guy is just. I mean, if it's really true that he was involved, he's a unique one, and I think the problem is because of his autism spectrum disorder. It makes it really difficult to be able to probably interrogate the guy. I would assume.
Yeah.
I think everything you would try to do with him, you'd be hitting roadblocks.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, even his defense said it was hard for them to work with Koberger in his own defense because of his condition. So it was hard for them to even get. Not, I wouldn't say that they. I don't want to read into what they said. It's not that they were saying they couldn't get straight answers from him. It's just that they couldn't get. They were having a hard time getting a proper assistance from him. Probably
yeah,
because he just didn't say a lot. Probably just didn't say.
right, right.
So
So I don't know. It's definitely fascinating. But what was the you were close to the Gonzalez family, right? Who were you
I,
sitting next to?
I was sitting kind of beside Ben Mogan, and then behind me or behind him was the Gonzalez family. So Steve was right on the end. Um, It's funny, every time I turned around, Steve Gonzalez was looking down. At first, my first thought was he was kind of checked out, but I realized I think what was happening is he was on his cell phone, and I think he was still drafting his speech, is what I'm guessing. So he was spending a lot of time looking down at his phone, kind of putting together his speech, I think, for which is interesting because you'd think that he'd already have the speech down cold, but
Yeah.
that's what it kind of looked like to me. Or he was texting with people, whatever the case may be. His face was in his phone most of the time. Maybe he was doing the same thing that other people were doing, which is using their phone to look at Koberger's face on their phone on the live feed. So who knows? But yeah, I think it's what was happening a lot. So
Yeah. Yeah, really really fascinating. And so you were, feeling the room. I mean, did you think that I mean, you obviously looking through this at a different lens than my mom would have in her assessment of it being fake.
yeah.
Did you feel like the whole thing just didn't seem like that there was something going on, like that, like it was fake, just like she said?
you know, I honestly didn't get the feeling that it was fake. I felt that the families were pretty much doing typical family thing. I was surprised. If one thing I was surprised about, I was surprised, and this is going to sound bad, but I was surprised at the lack of tears in the room. I would have thought the families would be a mess before they even went up. They'd be a mess through every other family recounting stuff. I would have thought that the audience, part of the audience, as far as the general public, would have been sobbing. There was just not a lot of tears, honestly. The tears kind of started when somebody went up and kind of ended shortly after they went and got their hugs sitting back down. And I was like, I mean, you would hear some sniffles in the audience from time to time, but I was just like, oddly, I thought this would be an emotional, just complete
Yeah.
wreck fest all day long, and it
Oh
wasn't.
yeah.
And it was much faster than I expected. We were being told to
Right.
anticipate possibly 2 days, and I
I
remember
know.
talking to Nina, who was sitting with me, and I said, what the first break, I said, this is doesn't it feel like half the families at least have already spoken? Like
Wow.
this is going fast. We're going to be done by noon, and she's like, yeah, I think we're going to be done by noon, and yeah, we were out of there like 12:30, I think, or something.
Wow. I know when I was watching it, or before it was going, we talked about it being a potential 2-dayer.
Yeah.
I was gonna stream it on my channel, but I'm like, I'm not gonna sit there for 2 days and listen to that kind of stuff. I mean, I can only deal with so much misery. I mean, it's horrible. So I
That's one of
wouldn't
the
want to
things.
hear that for 2 days. You know?
That was one of the things I wanted to know how people do, because I have never watched anybody's live stream from the courtroom, and I found that like Birdie was live streaming it, and Harsh Reality was live streaming it, and I don't know if Pav live streamed it, but I thought, for me, this is my style. Maybe it's my age, but for me, I can't be concentrating on an audience and a show while I'm trying to soak in every moment of people's faces and reactions and what they said. So I can't imagine trying to do a show. And I'm thinking to myself, do the people that live stream, did they pause and talk over things, or did they just talk over things? And then while they're talking over, saying what they're seeing, you're missing what's being like. I wouldn't want to talk over every second because you never know what somebody's going to say.
They usually pause it.
Okay, they do usually pause it. Okay.
Yeah, the ones I follow, they
Yeah.
usually pause it unless it's a little quip,
Yeah.
like, "Hey, what's up, Tom?" Something like that. They'll let it
Yeah, they chuckle,
roll.
or yeah, yeah.
But an actual comment, yeah, they would pause it if they were
Okay.
showing a video or something.
Yeah, I wanted to know because I might someday, if I can't make a trial, do the same kind of thing. And I'm like, well, I would have to at a minimum pause if I'm going to go on a rant about something, because I don't want to rant over
Yeah,
somebody's testimony and stuff like that. So
right. And you're supposed to cut in every now and then to make it fair use.
right, so you're not
So
just
you
ripping.
so you have to. You just can't just stream it, like
Right.
on its own. I always get people that ask, "Why do you got to have the box up?" Well, I can't do it unless I do it this way. At least not
Right.
legally.
Yeah.
But so yeah, so it went a lot faster. Was there any? I mean, what did you think about Olivia? I mean, she certainly stole the show with the Kelly would have kicked your ass comment, which I did think was kind of cool, but at the same time, it sounded like a line in like a bad after school special or something.
I
And
mean,
I thought it just sounded kind of hokey, and it seemed like it was very, very, scripted.
yeah. Well, it was certainly scripted. But I think, I as the writer in me, the writer and the creative type in me, actually, it's weird. Actually, was giving her kudos when she started going into the mocking him on the survey that he wrote for college with the how did you feel when you were going in to kill my sister, and what were the thoughts going through your head. And I kind of was laughing at that because I'm like, look at you being clever and turning the survey back on him kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a clever moment on her
That
part.
was very clever. I'll give her
Yeah,
that for sure.
yeah, and but aside from that clever moment, which I could appreciate for the intelligence part to have that kind of wit and stuff, it felt a little high schoolish. It was that you're a nothing, you're a loser, nobody likes you.
Right.
This is the only way you can try to be important, and you're not important. Nobody gives a shit about you. And I was like, okay, so it's a bunch of name calling, like we're in high school, but
Right.
it's a bigger stage than picking on somebody about what a loser they are because they're not with the cool kids. Like, I don't know,
Right.
it had that kind of like feeling of, and a couple of the people's testimony had that, their witness impact statements felt a little bit like this is just name calling, and
Yeah.
you're trying to hurt him. You're trying to hurt somebody that if he really is a sociopath, he gives zero fucks what you're saying. Like, you think you're hurting his feelings, but if he's a
Exactly.
sociopath, he gives zero fucks what you're saying. So
Yeah.
what's the point? But yeah,
Yeah, it's like yelling at a brick wall. I mean, you're not going to
right.
get any emotion. I was just watching a little body language expert talk about that yesterday, and he said it looked like the only real reaction he saw Koberger do is in certain parts where the females were crying, his breathing looked like it went up, like he was enjoying it,
Yeah.
which is
Yes.
messed up. Which
Right.
is messed up.
Right.
But I only saw a short snippet of it. But can't remember, his Dr. G, I think it is. He's really good. Um, but but yeah, I want to watch more of it to see what else he says. But I definitely, wanted to hear your reactions to the whole thing. And what was I heard, the word on the wire was you were quite the celebrity. I mean, you had like Teen Beat chasing you down the street, wanting you.
Team beat. Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah.
But
It
what was
was.
going on, man? You had some people recognize you, which is really cool.
Yeah. It was surprising only because the first time I went there, right? No, I mean, I had my hat on that said Devil's Advocates.
Right.
Nobody had any inkling who the hell I was, whatever. So it was a little weird when it started out with somebody saying, "Hey, you're that YouTuber, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then somebody else later on was like, "Hey, you're DA, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you know me," which was a dumb question. You know me? Like, if they just said you're DA, then obviously they know who I am. Like, you know who I am? And they're like, "Yeah, I watch your
Right.
show." And so it was kind of funny, and I think that person said several other people had asked about me to see if I was there. So I was like, well, that's kind of interesting. So yeah, there was that moment of like, this is so different from the last time I came down here, because the last time I came down here, nobody fucking knew who I was. I had complete anonymity,
That's
and then
awesome,
all of a
dude.
sudden somebody's bringing a
Love it.
box of donuts to the line and saying, "Hey Lee, you get first pick of the donuts. Which one do you want?" And I'm like, what just happened? Like, how do you even know who the hell I am? So that was kind
The,
of funny.
the last band I played in, Low 12, we were active for 18 years. So we were pretty well known in the area. And we did a little touring and a couple of big shows. But anyway, we were somewhere and just had, you know, talking about somebody knowing you from a certain thing that's like so different than what they would expect you to be. Like, for example, I had people that couldn't believe I could talk normal after singing the way that I did,
Yeah.
which was kind of funny. And then I had people recognize me. We used to do a lot of all age shows, so the job I had, I was in schools a lot, so I'd be working in a school, and some kid would be like, "Hey, you're that dude from Low 12." And I'm like, "Low what?" And he's like, "Low 12." And I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And I would mess with him, or I would say, "No, that's my brother." Like we're twins. Like, I don't, no, that's not me. And I had Low 12 tattooed on both legs. Um, so if I had well, I would always have to have long pants on for work. But if he had to see me in shorts, I wouldn't have been able to do it. But now the amputation cut through about three-quarters of the Low 12 on the left leg. So I got some
Wow.
ink in mind for post uh, being able to walk with the prosthetic. So
The side tangent on tattoos. I didn't get my first tattoo until I was 30, I think, 30 something years old, right? And I've been told, and it's true, that they're kind of addictive, because once you get a tattoo,
yeah,
you're like, that sucked, and they're like, I think I want another one. Like, you start planning the second tattoo as soon as you get the first one, right? And I'm in that same place now where I'm like, dude, you're too old for another tattoo. But there's a part of me that's like, I'm still missing some tattoos. Like, I need to get some more tattoos. Like, why, dude? Like, tattoos are done. You should be done with the tattoos, but I still want to get one.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed a couple of times with you with the sleeveless. I could see you have a few.
Yeah,
I don't have
like
too many.
I got that one. Yeah.
I got about, I don't know, 6 or 7 maybe. That's just not. I never went crazy with it. I couldn't afford it. I was
Yeah.
I was a poor, starving musician. That's for sure. And
This
it was,
tattoo,
it was rough.
tattoo I have here, I loved the artist. The guy was just phenomenal. The best. I mean, it's amazing work, right? And for some reason, some people don't like other people. And it was funny because when I tried to call back to schedule another job with him, he wouldn't take my calls. And somebody else told me, like,
Oh,
he's a real finicky worker. If he doesn't like you, he won't talk to you, and whatever. And apparently he didn't like me, so he did the one tattoo, and then he was not interested in taking my money for anything else. And I was like, dude, like, the guy's got amazing work. I want to go back, but apparently I didn't connect with him, and he only wants to work with people he likes, and didn't like me. So that was it for me,
wow.
for him. But yeah, it was weird.
Wow, that is weird. Yeah, I
Yeah.
had a guy do my first tattoo that's like he's world famous. He's long since retired now. I don't even know if he's still alive, but Spider Webb was his legal name. But went into making the guns for tattoo artists after he retired, and had
Yeah.
quite the business selling that kind of stuff. But
Oh yeah.
he had a little shop in Derby, Connecticut, and I went there and had him do my first one, and then I found out the guy did the dragon. I think it was the dragon on Ozzy's chest.
Oh wow.
He did that one, and he did one for Axl Rose too. So the guys, had done a lot of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he used to play guitar in Gigi Allen's band too. So if you know anything about Gigi Allen, that dude's like a train wreck. So that had to be just wild. It was a crutch that they made into a guitar. That was his guitar. Was a crutch that had strings on it and a pickup, and you could play it. It was pretty funny, but he was an
I have a
interesting dude.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's all. I was just going to say he was an interesting guy.
I have another tattoo story, but I can't show it. It's up here, and nobody wants to see me shirtless. But so I went to this guy, and I wanted to get. So I'm a big Alice in Wonderland fan. In fact, this tattoo here is the rabbit, the white rabbit, and
Oh,
so
cool.
I wanted to get a big Alice here, right? But it was going to be a little risque Alice, and I wanted the Cheshire cat on it, whatever. And so I go into this tattoo shop with the idea, and they tell me that I have to go to a very specific artist there because he's the one that does faces. And since I want Alice's face, a very detailed face, well, you have to work with someone. So he does tiny faces on tattoos, and he's the guy to go to. The problem is, this is not going to be appropriate for young audiences. He gave Alice a flat ass. Like, I am not a flat ass kind of guy. He gave her a flat ass, and my wife's like, "You need to go back and have him make her a bigger ass." I'm like, I can't get him to add ass to my tattoo. So to this day, people pick on me. They're like, "How come she has such a flat ass?" I'm like, "God dang it!
Some
It's not
ass
my fault."
injections or something.
Right? Can we get Botox for Alice's
Yeah.
ass? Yeah. Anyways, that's
So I saw this as the chat's pretty active tonight, but I saw this from Carrie. We lost a legend. Ozzy will live on in many of our hearts. That is an understatement for sure, Carrie. I agree with you, of course. Um, Ozzy was, in my opinion, in his first band, well, Black Sabbath. They were Earth before they were Black Sabbath, but Black Sabbath invented heavy metal. So, in my opinion, anybody in a band that invented something that's so special to me and something that I love so much, and pretty much all my friends are the same way. And I think that's I owe that so much. I'm glad I got to see him a couple times. I saw him on Bark at the Moon. I saw him after that, but I don't remember which tour it was. But He is
one of his 7
fantastic.
farewell tours.
I don't know if he did the that kind of thing or not. I like I said, I lost touch with him in the later years of recording just because I wasn't really,
Yeah.
he's doing songs with what was that that guy that looks like he needs a bath in a bad way, that Post Malone.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
He did something with him, and I'm just like, come on, dude, like Ozzy, seriously? But it is what it is. I'm sure a lot of people liked it. I just wasn't a fan. But
Yeah.
was there anything else you wanted to say about your trip to Boise? Anything at all about your experience? It's great that you got some people that recognize Devil's Advocates. Definitely, I've been spreading the word as much as I can when I'm doing stuff. So I think
I
that's
was just
awesome.
I was thrilled to be there. I was super, like I said, super honest. That's why I'm honored to. I give a shout out to Nina. Nina, she had my back. I'm a bit of a I'm not super confident, right? So I was willing to just be a good boy, sit 20, 30 people back and take my chances and walk across the street, not run. For a moment, I told me and I said, okay, I'm going to sprint with you. If you sprint, I'm going to sprint. We're going to sprint for the front of the courthouse. And then I kept saying, I talked myself out of it. Like, I'm just not that guy. I'm not the guy to try to elbow people out and run to the front and be the first in line. And so, bless her heart, she stuck up for me and actually forced me towards the front up to where she was at because she had beat me in the line and said, "You get up here with me. You're in my group," and
Awesome.
it was amazing. So it was a
That's
great,
super cool. That's
yeah.
super cool.
But yeah,
Yeah.
the experience was fantastic. I'm glad I was there. Um, every time now that I go to a courthouse like that, I learn something new about the process, and so I'm glad that I was there. It was a. I just wished I wish that at the end of that, there was that moment, by the way, I don't know if people realize this or not, but Steve Gonzalez went outside at the same time the press conference was happening inside. And so people were asking me, are you going to go out and listen to Steve? And I'm like, I'm going to be in here with the press conference. I want to hear what all the officials are going to tell us that we didn't know about this case. Like, I've heard Steve talk a million times, right? Well, it turns out from what I was told, by people who watched, I think Brian Enton or something like that somebody said the night before the sentencing, the families were told details about the deaths, more details about the deaths that happened than they had before, including that there was more than one weapon used in the commission of the crime, which was something new. And
Really?
it's funny. Yeah, so it's funny because they mentioned that, I think, on the stand. One of the people said, what was the other weapon you used? So
Wow.
they clearly had been told there was more than one weapon used, because I think it was Olivia asked, what was the other weapon you used? So I'm in the press conference, right, and I don't get to see what's going on with Steve, and people are texting him on the phone. Are you watching Steve? I'm like, no, I'm inside. I can't be in two places at once. I'm in here for the press conference, not for Steve outside. I was told on a phone that Steve had told the press outside that Kaylee was stabbed 30 times. And I said, well, that's interesting. That I don't know that we had the specific number, 30 times. But again, then you start to ask yourself, okay, how much time do you really have to stab Kaylee 30 times? How many other people received multiple wounds? Again, was Kaylee worse than everybody else? Did she get 30 and Maddie got 1? I mean, like, now in my head, I'm going through all these questions. Well, wait a minute. If it's 30, right? Somebody inside the press room asked the question about the second weapon. They said, so there's talk about a second weapon. There was a weird moment among the team that was there giving the official press conference. They looked at each other like, what do we say? One of them stepped forward and said, I'm going to repeat that we've always said that there was a sharp instrument used, and that's all we're going to say about that. And I'm like, so you are admitting, it's like,
Wow.
even when the families have been told there was a second weapon, you still won't tell the public, who've been waiting for 2.5 years to find out what happened. And now you're gonna shine us on at the press conference and say, well, like we said from the beginning, there's a sharp weapon that was used, and we're just going to leave it at that. I'm like, but the families have been told there was more than one weapon, and you won't even acknowledge that at the press
I
conference.
wonder if he had like brass knuckles on or something. They talked about
Right,
those punches
right,
to her face.
right.
In the beginning, you remember that they said Kaylee was the one that had 50 something wounds, but I
Yes,
think it was because the one cop, I was watching it on Jules, I think, that the cop mixed up Xana and Kaylee when he first went through the house because you couldn't identify Kaylee, and
yeah.
that's where I think that confusion was. So the 51 or whatever wounds was Xana. It's just that the first cop got it wrong because of the misidentification of Kaylee. So But yeah,
So yeah, so it just, it was one of those things again where I'm absolutely dumbfounded that after all this time they give a press conference and I'm thinking to myself, okay, it's over. You can say whatever you want now. It's over. Like the plea has been made. The sentence has been handed down. It is over. You can say whatever you want now. I expected at least, I'm going to say this in a weird way. I expected you at least to do the common courtesy and fucking lie to me and tell me something that just whatever you want to make up. Because you can make up anything you want. And you didn't even have the courtesy to lie to me. Instead, what you said is, there's nothing that you don't know. We know the same things you do. No connection between him and the girls. We don't know why he did it. We don't know what, it's like, you really have nothing else. Your whole case is you
right.
know nothing else,
I
and
said
you
it.
guys don't
I
have
said
problems.
it before, and I'll say it again. There's no way they would have found him guilty with that bullshit evidence they had. I mean, any juror with a moderate amount of intelligence could see that.
Yeah,
Honestly, that's ridiculous. It's like that video Harsh did. I love that where he had his son who
yeah.
was like 9 or 10 answering these questions. Would you would you buy the murder weapon on Amazon if you were doing a crime? No, they could find you. Like
I just had
Amazon
somebody.
knows where you are or whatever he said. But he was like
Yeah.
so cool. It was just a great idea. I thought it was funny.
Well,
But
and
yeah,
just today, my wife she does a sewing kind of business where she does sewing jobs for people, and somebody came over and my wife said, oh yeah, my husband's a YouTuber and he was down there for the trial, and she said, oh really, that's very cool. She goes, I knew day one he was guilty when I heard that he was a criminology student. That's how he got away with it. He was so smart. And I'm like, we're still hearing how smart he was because he's a criminology student. Yet
right.
he takes his phone, he takes his cell phone to the murder scene, drives his own car to the murder scene. Like, I don't understand how you simultaneously say he's so smart because he's a criminology student, and you take your phone and your car to the crime scene. The things just, I don't know.
I know.
It
Unless he
baffles
was
me.
in, unless he had a gun to the back of his head, and they
Right,
told him to go drive around and bring your phone with you, and that was all part of the setup. Who knows? I mean,
yeah,
anything's possible, and that's what's so frustrating. If they just release the damn information
right.
and be
I don't think
truthful
they
about
know.
it,
I don't
we
think they
could
know.
put this to bed.
It seems obvious. It seems pretty obvious they don't know. They don't know what happened. They just had a guy and he fit most of the evidence, and then they were going to basically pound the square peg into the round hole kind of thing because they have a
Right,
guy and they got enough evidence that they can make it work, and they really don't know what happened. And
right.
he and Koberger's not talking, and so nobody can. So now they just have to come up, make up the best story that they can, and I think it's what they did. They made it the best story that they can, and they stuck with it.
Yeah. I like the creator, Casper West, and he just did a video today that is well worth a watch if you're interested in this thing that we're talking about, and how easy it is for law enforcement to create a patsy,
Yeah,
and it's unbelievably scary to think of it, but it wouldn't have been difficult for them to set him up, especially with his autism spectrum disorder and his oddities and stuff. I mean, it's really sad in a way. I know it's sick if he did it, but it's also sad in another way if he was manipulated into this somehow because of his issues. We don't know, but
right.
that's why I wondered if he was part of a group of 3 or 4 that went in there to do that, and he got caught up in the excitement. He thinks he's the smartest guy. There's no way they're going to get caught. I'm going to show everybody how smart I am. And he steps in it. But yet, these other people with him knew all along they were going to throw
Bring
him
them.
down, sell him down the river. So they set up the Amazon, had probably stole the damn K bar from him so that they were able to plant it with his DNA on it. That would be easy enough to do. I mean, there wasn't much they would have had to do to make the fingers point his way.
Yeah,
And it's sick if that was some scenario, but it seems like he's being forced to do what's going on now.
yeah,
I'm still having a hard time with this one, man.
yeah, yeah. I am too, and and I'm on the fence about how to proceed forward because again, part of my thing was if I was the family of a victim, I would want to know what actually happened. Not just, I wouldn't want to just put somebody away because it makes me feel good at the end of the day. I'd want to know that we got the right guy and the only guy, and that other people who were involved in it didn't walk free. I'd want to know those things. But
Right.
having been in the courtroom, it seemed obvious to me the families are all ready to move on. They're happy enough that Koberger is going to take the fall for it all and spend the rest of his life in jail, and they want to move on. So now I can't say that I'm doing this in any way, shape, or form for the family, because they want to be done with it. You know, they're happy with the result. Well, as happy as they're going to be, right? They're ready to move on with their life. So they're not going to be appreciative of internet sleuths trying to figure out what really happened, because in their mind they're done thinking about it. They know what happened enough that they're just going to move on with their lives. So now you have to ask, how much tolerance is there in the public to continue to ask the questions and see if there was prosecutorial misconduct, law enforcement misconduct? Did they turn a blind eye? Are there other people? And at the end of the day, will anybody give a shit if you find out 5 years from now the smoking gun that here's the person who actually did it and it wasn't BK? How will here's the $1 million question. If you find out 5 years from now that there was a different person and it wasn't BK, will the families be happy or angry? Will the families be like, man, I moved on. Yeah. I was happy. Now you're just bringing up old shit because now you're telling me this wasn't the right guy, and I look like a jackass because I went on TV and called him a piece of shit and said I hope he rots in hell, and now you're going to tell me it wasn't the right guy? I mean, how would they feel about finding out it wasn't the right guy?
That's a good point, dude. I mean, you'd be agitated at a minimum, probably a lot more than that. I mean, people would get wound up about something like that.
Yeah,
For sure.
I don't know. So it's a tough one, but I mean, I'm compelled. I'm compelled to go through the documents, right? I'm going to go through the documents. I'm going to look for things. I'm already hearing people tell me, because there's some people who have way more time on their hand than me, and I'm retired, and I thought I had all the time on my hand I can be. But people are already telling me Molly, the DoorDash driver, absolutely did not see a Brian Koberger there. In fact, she saw somebody there with red spiky hair and a female and all kinds of shit. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Exactly.
Like, not only did she not see him, but she saw somebody else, and that's
I even mocked her in a video because I'm like, a DoorDash driver is going to pull right up to the front door. So you mean to tell me Koberger was sitting there right in front of the front door?
Right.
You parked next to him. That's where he would have been had you parked right next to him.
So now we find out it is bullshit.
Smart, under the spotlight,
Yeah.
So dumb. So dumb.
Yeah, and yet a lot of people, I'll tell you, here's the sad part. A lot of people still believe to this day that had we gone to trial, Molly was going to put Koberger at the house. She saw him. There was somebody that actually saw him at the house. And I'm like, the reason why we're not having a trial is because she can't place him at the house. I almost guarantee you the reason why we're not having a trial is because Molly can't place Koberger at the house. Nobody can place Koberger at the house. That's the problem, including Molly.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's...
Unless, of course, you call the DNA putting Koberger at the house. But it's funny because Bill Thompson even said, I can't place Brian Koberger at the house. I can say his phone was near the house, but I can't put Koberger in the house.
Yeah. And we know that phone stuff is useless because of the fact that tower's got a 20-mile radius?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just ridiculous to even get into that. I mean, that's just it. It's like they just throw up the same talking points. And it's amazing that the people that watch the mainstream media version of these stories just lap it up,
They do.
And it sounds good. It's like makes for good TV. Like they polish it up good. But, when I watch like Law and Crime cover a case I'm familiar with, I'm like, they're like stepping it at every, which way to Sunday, and just not getting the details right. I mean, it's just sloppy and just, I don't understand how, people could so blindly follow something that is so dreadfully inept as the media. Other than, I mean, people starting to watch people like you and I mean, I'm not a trained journalist by any stretch of the imagination, but people like the way I say what I say, I guess, and what I'm putting forward, just like they like you and want to keep supporting you. And I think that this new media, I think, has probably got a lot of those guys pretty freaked out because
you just reminded me. I was in line for the change of plea, and I had AP News sitting beside me and Fox News. The AP News guys, I'm going to repeat a story because it's important to what you just said. AP News says, hey, can you fill me in on the case? I'm just kind of filling in for somebody else. I'm not the normal AP News guy. What's the deal? Fox News says this to the guy. Here's the deal. Brian Koberger saw a girl at the Mad Greek restaurant, Maddie, and became obsessed with her, and then decided that he was going to go kill her, and things went wrong, and he killed everybody in the house. And I went, you just said that to this AP News guy like it was fact. Brian Koberger became obsessed with Maddie and had to go kill her because he couldn't have her, and he became and I'm like, and then they say at the press conference, there's no proof Brian Koberger ever went to the Mad Greek restaurant. We have no proof he knew any of the girls. We have no evidence any of the girls specifically were targeted. Yet Fox News tells AP News, and AP News is the place that most people get their news from. Like AP News feeds every other news story in America, right? And he tells AP News, oh yeah, Brian Koberger was obsessed with one of the girls and decided to, he was going to kill her. And I'm like, that's going to get repeated, but from AP News all over every newspaper in the country, because this guy hears that's what the story was. And that's all the further that guy need to do, right? That's all the further he need to hear. Somebody from Fox telling him, oh yeah, he was obsessed with one of the girls. Well, AP News, apparently Brian Koberger was obsessed with one of the girls. And that goes out all over the country. Every newspaper picks it up, and everybody in America goes, oh yeah, we all know that he was obsessed with Maddie. Well, that's funny because there's no evidence of that whatsoever, but you're going to keep repeating it.
Yeah, either that or the person may not necessarily repeat what they hear, but now they're already got a view, tainted viewpoint, and would go into an interview or whatever with obviously a much different attitude. So that could be a factor too. I mean, either way, it's just not good. It's just not good.
Yeah.
But what about some of these the document dump here? I mean, what kind of stuff have you gotten into? There's just so much of it. I watched some of the police stuff that they were going through today. I think that's what was released in this first batch. But anything that really jumped out at you that surprised?
Well, I have not looked at anything. I've downloaded the stuff that they posted on the first day. It was like 6 zip files of tons and tons of files that are on my computer. I haven't even had a chance to look at them. And like I said, what's happening now, and it's very frustrating for me, is people want me to comment on what Lana said and what Pav says and what all these other content creators. What is your thoughts on this document reading by so and so? And I'm like, I don't mean to be rude, but one, I don't have time to watch everybody else's video and cut my own content. And I haven't even read the document myself yet. So until I watch the document for myself, I don't know that I want to go watch somebody else tell me what the document says, because I need to see it with my own eyeballs. And then I will be interested to hear what they took out of the same document I read. But I don't want to go get my information about the documents from somebody else. So I haven't started down there. I'm going to start tonight, start going through the documents.
That's cool. Yeah, I have not gone through them myself. I was busy today with some other projects, and I went ahead and watched a couple of the videos that went through some of it, and just kind of, it's interesting. I mean, some of the stuff, I mean, if it's even true, about the wounds, I thought was interesting. And then I saw somewhere in the comments, but I haven't come across it in any document, about a time of death for Ethan being much later than what we were originally told. But do you know if that's true? Because if so, if he had a carotid artery or a jugular, then that would have meant that the crimes, he wouldn't have bled out slow. He would have bled out instantly. So that would push the time much later, which I've posed in videos before. How do we know it happened at 4:00? All we're going by is some drunken woman who doesn't know what the hell's going on in her room, and that's it. I mean, that and
to be fair, the two big pieces of evidence that makes them forced. That's the thing. They're forced to the timeline based on the White Elantra narrative. Here's the car arriving at 4:07. Here's the car leaving at 4:20, and they locked themselves into that's when it had to have happened. And I thought for sure that's where they were screwed. I thought when they get to trial, they're going to be screwed because they gave themselves too short of a window for 4 murders on 2 floors with people who are fighting back. They're still trying to pitch the narrative that all the girls were asleep. They said that several times. You coward, Brian! You killed 4 people in their sleep. My ass, they were asleep. We've been told over and over again they were fighting back. They were fighting back. You can't say, oh, they were all asleep. And here's the thing: we're just going to keep saying shit over and over, and the narrative will eventually. This is what bothers me. The narrative will eventually become Brian Koberger killed 4 kids in their sleep, and
Right.
and people will just stop talking about they were fighting back and all the other inconsistencies. It'll just become the story. This
Right.
coward walked in and killed 4 people in their sleep, and that's why it happened so quickly, because they were all sleeping and they were all drunk and nobody had a chance. And we'll just like forget that that's not how the story initially was.
Right. Yeah, it's really messed up, and I think, talking about this last night in the live, that this is going to be one of those cases that goes down in true crime, history as, one of the great unsolved to some.
To
Others
some,
will say it was Koberger and that's that. But to anybody that thinks that something stinks, I mean, what about the 911 call when we were talking? I read or heard something about all the blood in Xana's room all over the floor. You mean to tell me that guy walked in that room across a bloody floor on a woman that was stabbed 51 times and actually has the balls to say that he was checking her pulse to see if she was passed out? I mean,
right, right,
are you kidding me? Like, anybody that's ever had kids
right.
can smell bullshit coming a mile away.
And
Okay.
and I mean, and not to get super graphic, but and if Ethan had an artery cut and bled out quickly, there would be a shit ton of blood as well. That would be, I mean,
Right.
if he had an artery cut, we're talking a massive amount of blood, from what I understand. And so
Yeah.
again, the idea that you're not sure what exactly happened
Right.
is asinine. Now, granted, I mean, the last documentary that came out, it was clear they said Hunter knew that they were dead and told the girls the lie that they were unconscious to save them some of the horror of knowing what happened. So he's just like, tell 911 they're unconscious, because he knew that they weren't. But then there's that whole checking the pulse thing that comes in, and you're like, well, wait a minute, did you check a pulse or not? Or was it immediately obvious they were dead? So the story just stinks to high heaven all the
Yeah,
way around.
it
So.
does. It does. And that's why, like, I was talking to my mom today about this case and all the crazy, weird things about it is, the 911 call sounds fake too. Like she was talking about the sentencing hearing had an air of fakeness to it.
Yeah.
Whereas the same thing with the that I've thought from the beginning, everything about this case to me just seems like it's unreal. And I'm
Well,
not a
here's the thing.
helicopter, conspiracy guy, but goddamn, I mean, I don't know how else you explain it. I mean,
I, I
seriously.
I have not said this on my previous live, and I haven't said this until now. Here's one of the things that I question about Brian Koberger's opportunity at sentencing to speak, right? He says, I respectfully decline. And I think, and a lot of people thought, well, why the fuck do you think that you can be respectful if you just killed 4 people? And I'm thinking to myself, well, let's take into consideration one possibility. If he has autism spectrum disorder and he doesn't say things the way people would normally say things, and if he didn't do it and you just had to listen to everybody tell him how he's a piece of shit, he would want to be respectful for all the people who are hurting, but decline to comment, because again, maybe there's an appeal coming and he knows there's an appeal coming, and so there's nothing he can say other than I respectfully decline. It's like, I acknowledge that you have some problems with this, and all I can say is I respectfully decline to comment on it, i.e. wait for the appeals,
Right.
kind of thing. Like, what else are you going to say? But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he may have, I mean, that's always the number one thing an attorney will tell you is, the less words you say, the better. So,
Yeah.
maybe that was, like you said, some sort of strategy with that. Technically, if they do, it would have to be a Supreme Court appeal, though, right? If they're going to do that, if they're going to be able to appeal it.
I'm not 100% sure on the appeals process, kind of thing. I mean, again, I hear a lot of, in fact, it's interesting because I do have Ali Benevento, who's my criminal defense attorney I talked to. She's planning on talking to me on Tuesday. And that's the questions where I'm going to start asking her from a legal standpoint. What are, even though, Koberger signed a deal that waived his right to appeal, people keep saying, you can't in certain circumstances, you cannot waive all of your rights to appeal. You still have the ability to appeal under certain circumstances. So maybe I'm going to ask my attorney friend, well, what are those circumstances? Is it
Yeah.
really a complete long shot, or is there really a possibility that there's still an appeal coming for this thing? So I don't know.
Yeah. I think that it's an interesting question that'll endure. We'll have to see how this thing plays out as they dribble out more and more information. I mean, I'm planning on sticking with the case,
Yeah.
but I'm going to cut down on the content, and I'm going into the Long Island serial killer, Flora 4, and I want to take one more on. I'm just not sure which one just yet. So, as you
Yeah.
know, Lee, it's hard to do all that stuff and not be too spread too thin too. So
Right. And I guess where I'm at with I mean, here's the thing. I mean, people want me to finish the Patterson book kind of thing, but it's hard, right? Because you're like, well, it's over. Again, there's a part of you that thinks that that's over and nobody's going to want to talk about this anymore. But I want to finish going, and there's no way I'm not going through the documents. But here's the thing, like you, there's a part of me that's like, okay, it's time to pull back a little bit on the content, because I can't keep making thumbnails talking about how it's not over when for 99% of America, this is over, right?
right,
But I'll tell you, I'm going to be balls deep in this thing if somebody comes through with an appeal, or if another person picks it up, because then I'll be right back to, I fucking told you this wasn't over. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm cautiously ready to start kind of dialing this back, because what else can you do? You can't keep beating a dead horse. But if somebody
right.
takes up the mantle and there's an appeal, or there's a higher court involved, or there's some kind of evidence that comes through, exculpatory evidence, last minute kind of thing, then I'll be like, we're all in,
Okay,
let's go. But,
we're on. Yeah, I would be all about it too. I know. I'd love to see like a Mark Garagos or one of these big high-profile defense attorneys come in and get him straight over there. I don't know what that could be
yeah.
done at this point of the game with all the way it's worked out, but I don't
Yeah. And
know. It just seems
I've
like
got,
a travesty. It honestly does.
people keep bringing up, and I didn't look into it, but I mean, it's been brought up by a ton of people that there is still, Supreme Court, they said, has given 42 days after the sentencing for still having a chance to appeal. So will he do that? I don't know. Like, again, it's, people asked me before, do you think that Koberger is going to pull a fast one and change his plea right at sentencing? And I said, I don't think that's going to happen. And sure enough, it didn't happen. Now people are asking me, do you think he's going to pull an appeal before this 42 days wears off? I don't think so, but we'll see. Like,
Right.
part of me tells me this is it. He's just gonna ride it out, and that time's gonna go by, and that's gonna be it, and it's gonna be done. But
Right.
who knows what happens in the next 42 days, I guess, or
Yeah.
less than 42, because now it's at least one day away, right? So maybe 41 days or whatever. So we'll see.
I'm looking here at some questions. We got about 17 minutes left. We always cap these off at 90 minutes. Somebody here thinks we're both right here. Joanne Murdoch Lee says that we're both
We both asked the right
right.
questions.
Ask the right question. So very good.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. If the death penalty stays on the table with an appeal due to violating plea agreement, then he won't do it. He will only appeal if new evidence comes through in his opinion, in her opinion. Sorry, Heather Mosier.
So the
I don't
death
know.
the death penalty is not on the table. The death penalty was
Right.
part of the plea, right? So he took life in prison
In
in
exchange.
exchange for having the death penalty taken off the table. So there's no death penalty on the table. But 100%, if new evidence comes out, in particular, if evidence comes out that proves Brian Koberger could not have done what he just confessed to, then it's a game changer, and it is right back on the table again. So if something comes out and what they laid down, you entered the house at this time on this day and you did these things, if it comes out somehow that is impossible to have happened, because Brian Koberger is on camera somewhere else in a completely different place at the time that you say he went into the house, then that'll be a game. That'll reopen this thing right away.
Yeah. Here's an interesting one from Vidrios. I think he's on his way to the Marshall Islands. If this went to trial, it would have been bigger than Rittenhouse. The state couldn't have that. What do you think about that, Lee?
I don't know about the
They
comment about
whisked
going
him
to.
away somewhere.
I
I mean,
yeah. I
set up perfectly for it, right? He's he's going to go away. No one will ever see or hear from him again. I mean, if you're going to
Unfortunately,
do this, that's your guy, right?
unfortunately, my gut tells me, and this is again not a popular thing, but unfortunately, my gut tells me the next thing we're going to hear is Brian Koberger has been beaten to death in prison. I feel like that's what we're going to hear next.
I think it's very possible. I think it's very possible. It may
Yeah.
take a little while because they'll be all over him
And did
after.
you see? Was it? Oh, I didn't want to mention this because I can't remember. Did you hear Steve? I think it was Steve Gonzalez. Somebody used the term pedophile in the courtroom, and I'm like, you're a moron. These girls are in their 20s. That's not a pedophile thing. But it's like they're trying to drop every traditional thing that gets you killed and beaten up in prison.
Right.
You're a pedophile, you're a snitch working for the cops. Let's drop everything you can so when he goes in, the prisoners will want to beat the fuck out of him and kill him.
That was
So I just
Olivia that said
it was
that. That
Olivia
was
that said that.
Olivia.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, "What the hell?
Pedophile,
Why
like,
are you
there's
calling
no
him
part
that?"
of this that's anything remotely close to pedophilia. Nothing close to pedophilia.
Exactly.
Just
Exactly. I
because there's somebody's
definitely.
child, you can't call a 20 something year old a child. Like, anyways.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to get people inside amped up.
And besides, let's not forget, it can't be pedophilia because remember, Brian Thompson said flat out, there is no sexual element. I want to make this absolutely clear. There's no sexual element to this crime. So
That's right.
for God's sake, let's drop the pedophilia shit.
Yeah,
I
that's
shouldn't have
ridiculous.
even given it a voice because that was horseshit to say. Again, the only reason I bring it up is because I think they're literally trying to put as much information as they can into the prison system, so he gets the shit kicked out of him for things, just whatever they can get the shit kicked out of him for, and that's
Yeah,
their little joy of, well, at least when you go in there, you're going to get the big D and you're going to get the shit kicked out of you.
yeah,
So
yeah. I thought it was very childish, and the clapping. It did not have a courtroom feel. I mean,
yeah,
that judge should have been pounding that gavel and telling them to stop and have some damn decor in the courtroom. They're cheering like they're at a
and a
freaking
hypochondriac. Yeah.
dirt track race on Friday night with Wilma.
Yeah.
Just ridiculous.
Oh my gosh, this
Convict
case,
Hayes,
AR
convict
Hayes.
thoughts with A.R. Hayes. Nothing matters in prison other than the documentation. That's right, AR.
Yep.
Heard you say that many a times. Going to check his
Show,
paperwork,
yeah, check your papers. Yeah.
and they're gonna know. They're gonna know or not know, but
Well, what they will know is there's no pedophilia because that didn't happen. But
that's right. Now earlier, uh, Lee, I played our intro that we did. We've had a lot of people that really like these intros that I've been doing, and I played the one that you and I did that I called customer service, and
yeah,
we've had some people really enjoy those. And I see AR here in the chat, and AR, you're next. I have a really funny idea of one I could do with you, AR, and it involves me coming to Vegas. That's all I'm going to say. But be on the lookout, AR. I'm going to give you a call maybe tomorrow to see about getting you to do one of those intros with me because I think we'd have a lot of fun doing them, and the audience loves them. Of course, I get a few people that are just haters and don't like them, but most people really enjoy it. And having you guys involved makes it even more fun. So definitely let's do that.
yeah. I enjoyed the opportunity to cut one with you. I thought it'd be fun to do one. So I'm glad that it was humorous to some people at least. I thought it was a little funny. I mean, you wrote the
Yeah,
whole script.
no,
It was
I think it's cool. I got another one I did that I put on the burner because that one with you came up quick on me. So I've got another one to follow up with once I'm done. I'm going to mix them up, put them in like a rotation eventually.
yeah,
But it's just a lot of fun. It's goofy, and true crime, as I've said before, is such a horrible genre to follow. I mean, when it comes to just heartbreaking stories and misery and all this stuff, it gets to me after a while. So it's nice to have a little levity in the situation. Not such a bad thing. I don't think so. I know some people don't think it's the place for it, but to me, it just feels right. So that's how I like to do it. And you've got a great sense of humor. And I was watching you in one of your videos, and I'm like seeing spit flying, and you're going crazy, and I'm like, oh man, I know one I could do with him.
And I
Like the
probably didn't
frustration
put
on
the same
customer
emotion
service.
into it because it's hard for me to act, and I'm not an actor, but I have to be on a natural rant. But yeah,
No, that was great. That was great. So there'll be more of those if you like the intros I've been doing. All right, why don't we give away a couple stickers here? If you're in the United States and you want to participate, all you got to do is just answer this question in the chat, and then all you got to do is do that within 1 minute, and then at the minute mark, I'll stop. I'll count up how many we got, and then I'll do the math. The random number generator do the math, and then we'll pick the winners. So again, only U.S. because of the postage getting crazy and stuff. So all right, pretty cool vinyl sticker, be perfect on the back of your car, truck, whatever. Piss people off, maybe.
yeah.
All right, so let's see here. Let me think of a good. Had an easy question for last night, so we're gonna do another pretty easy question here before. But let's see. What's the name of the famous wrestler that passed on today? Famous wrestler, iconic for our generation. Holly, you were talking about this
Yep,
in
for
your
sure.
live. So let's see some love. So go ahead and give it a shot if you're in the U.S. and you want one of our stickers. I'll give you one, but I'm keeping an eye on the time as I'm chatting with you. We're getting close to the end of the
Yeah,
live.
I haven't even talked to my wife about it. My wife's going to be upset about that one. She always liked him, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I had a paper route when I was a kid, and one of my paper route customers worked for WWF.
Oh wow.
And he used to get us tickets all the time, me and other kids in the neighborhood. And I wasn't like you, I wasn't really into the wrestling thing, nothing against it, just not my bag.
Yeah.
But we used to go to watch them all the time, and that was in that era, the Hulk era. We had like killer seats too. We used to go to see him in New Haven, Connecticut. They used to do it there all the time with the big name Hulk and the whole bunch of them. I used to enjoy it just because it was kind of just wild, just crazy and wild. But yeah, what a shocker though, the Hulk. So I didn't hear what he died from though. Do you know?
I did see it, but now I don't remember. Hmm. I don't remember. I
Yeah, I
read the
don't
story,
remember
but
either.
maybe. But yeah, it was funny. I feel like I knew who the Hulk was before, but like I probably had because I didn't watch wrestling. I probably had more of a memory of the Hulk from Rocky. You know, when he in Rocky 3 when he was Thunder Lips and they did the exhibition.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so that was where I kind of like, oh, Hulk Hogan's pretty funny. Guy's got a oh, it was a heart attack. Somebody said, okay.
heart attack. Okay, sorry about that, Hulk. Okay, so the minute has passed. So let me pick the winner here, the random number generator. Let me see. Colleen gets the answer right. So, Colleen, if you're still watching, email me at pete@murdermetalmayhem.com and I
Can I
will.
pet that dog?
You snail mail? What's that?
Said, can I pet that dog? The dog in the picture.
Well, congratulations, Colleen. All right, we got another winner here. Let's see. Let's see. Well, what would you know? A convict's thoughts, Mr. A.R. Hayes wins one. So, A.R., get a hold of me with the hopefully not the county jail where you're hanging out. You're you've gone good now, AR. You've gone good. But yeah, just get a hold of me with an address to send that to, dude. You could piss off everybody in Vegas with it, I'm sure. Excellent. Excellent. All right. And that was not a rigged game at all. I just like I said, the random number generator picks up. Well, very good. I'm seeing here just thanks and congrats and everything. And I didn't check. I should have. Oh, somebody here did. I don't know how I didn't see this. I'm sorry. Joanne Murdoch, a $5 super sticker. So thank you, Joanne. That's very nice of you. And Catherine S., 5 Murder Metal Mayhem memberships. Very,
There you
very
go.
thoughtful of you, Catherine. And that means if you're a recipient of one of these, you have Catherine to thank because you'll be in the Horns High Club. You could get into the Mayhem Squad. I've got a couple of tiers for the membership. So, but thank you, ladies, for that very much. Very, very nice. All right. Well, Lee, thanks for coming on, my friend. I know you've been burning the midnight oil. You look beat.
Yeah,
So
I'm a little, yeah, I'm still catching up, I think, from the
go
trial.
get some sleep, and the docs will be waiting when you wake up. So
Yeah, sorry I was late to your show, man. I tried to make up
no,
for
it's
it
all
early.
good. Don't worry. I could easily tap dance and run it until you get here. So no worries ever. So
All right, thank you so much. Night,
all
everybody.
right,
Thanks for
guys.
checking me out and
All
checking us
right,
out
guys.
together.
We'll see you later.
Thank you.